After being figuratively punched in the face by the audience over their recent string of flops, it would appear that Disney are now forced to course correct. However, it would also appear that they're not only resentful at the audience for it, but that they may be willing to resort to deception to conceal how bad matters really are. This video is sponsored by Surfshark. While the recent failure of Marvel's Madam Web belongs to Sony, Disney is nonetheless by now a certified bomb factory in their own right. Long gone are the days when anything they put out would come near or even cross the billion-dollar threshold, and since that is the kind of performance that is expected of Disney output, seeing as their entire operation is scaled around it, they're now forced to undergo a course correction. And as we shall see, some in the company are very upset about that, and holding the audience responsible for what is blatantly Disney's own fault. Worse yet, there is some evidence to suggest that Disney may be trying to give the market the impression that things are better than they are, and that they're willing to use bots to bolster that illusion, all of which demonstrates how desperate Bob Iger truly must be. And he incidentally has every reason to be, seeing as his brainchild and legacy, Disney Plus alone is the one and only major streaming service that is actually shedding millions upon millions of subscribers. If you are one of the many that have cancelled your Disney Plus subscription, or you're thinking about it, then you're far from alone in doing so. But even so, we wouldn't condone heading to the high seas to seek out any content you'd otherwise miss out on, as not only is piracy wrong, you would be exposing yourself to endless spyware, tracking software and other malware out there on the high seas. And that's on top of all the data that could be stolen from you during all of your regular browsing. To protect yourself, you need to protect your data, and a good way of doing that is through a VPN, such as the one delivered by this channel's sponsor, Surfshark. A VPN, or Virtual Private Network, is a privacy protection tool which encrypts your online data and secures your personal information, even when you're on a free public Wi-Fi, which is a goldmine for anyone wanting your data. Surfshark masks your IP address so that your location, download history, and other data isn't linked to your personal ID, while their Clean Web feature blocks trackers, malware, and phishing attempts, enabling you to surf safely. Best of all, unlike some other VPN providers out there, Surfshark does not monitor, track, or store what you do online. There's no activity log. In addition to providing online safety, Surfshark also liberates your internet by unblocking blocked websites and enabling you to bypass geo-blocking restrictions by changing the country you access the internet from, which gives some great advantages when it comes to streaming. For instance, you can access 15 different Netflix libraries, all with a different selection of movies and TV series, simply by changing your virtual location. And there are many locations to choose from, as Surfshark has over 3,200 servers in more than 100 countries around the world. That's pretty good, but it gets even better. If you type in the code MIDNIGHT when ordering, that triggers an exclusive special offer of 3 extra months for free. So, secure your privacy with Surfshark. Just head on over to surfshark.deals/midnight to order. Link is in the description. Surfshark also offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk in trying it out. Thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. And with that, let's get back to what might be going on with Disney. For a while now, we've heard rumors that Disney's Bob Iger has had the intention of course correcting the company. However, those rumors did not jive very well with some public statements he made, where he bragged about how Disney had restored creativity to the center of their business. When any Disney watcher knows that most, if not all, of Disney's remaining creatives and all of their new hires are activists that only care about ideopolitical messaging. Any rumor of course correction also does not jive with an internal video from January of 2020, which was recently leaked by Chris Rufo, where Iger committed to making Disney more politically partisan than ever before, Only he didn't use those exact words. As being a staunch member of the Democrat Party, Iger doesn't recognize the policies of the Democrat Party as being political. Under Bob Iger then, Disney became the place where magic goes to die. Outside of the mass firings, in which incidentally not nearly many enough were fired, the first real sign that Disney actually may be course correcting came in the aftermath of the release of The Marvels. This was when Iger claimed that during Chapek's reign, some of Disney's creatives perhaps maybe had lost sight of that however much beautiful messaging was put into the movies, they had to entertain first. And he especially singled out The Marvels, suggesting that there hadn't been enough executive oversight on it, in the process implying that director Nia DaCosta, a black female, wasn't capable of doing the job without executive supervision, an implication that the media picked up on and had a field day with, and which cost Iger a lot of credit among his ideopolitically driven fans. But now there is another strong indication that Disney is indeed course correcting, all while blaming the fans that a course correction was necessary in the first place. This comes from Matthew Bellany of Puck fame, who received a DM from a Disney insider, which was spread far and wide. This DM read, "Everyone says it's the movies, stupid," which is an easy thing for people to say. More appealing movies are a great way to jump the political issues. But more and more, our audience, or the segment of the audience that has been politicized, equate the perceived messaging in a film as a quality issue. That gaslighting statement right there reveals that it isn't the audience, but the executive saying this that has become politicized. This executive is so hyper-partisan that just like Bob Iger, they don't recognize that the ideology they worship as being the most natural, beautiful and progressive thing in the world is itself political and hyper-partisan at that. The only thing executives like these recognize as political is any and all resistance to the ideopolitical messaging that drives Disney's content. That would be because people like the executive we see quoted here are so far gone that they don't recognize that what they are pushing is destructive, divisive, and hateful propaganda. The so-called segment of the audience that has been politicized against them is in reality the majority of the worldwide audience. At that scale, it isn't the audience that is the problem, but Disney themselves. The executive continues. They won't say they find female empowerment distasteful in the Marvels or Star Wars, but they will say they don't like those movies because they are bad. Yeah, conveniently ignore any protest that they're misandric, anti-family, subversive, and straight-up propaganda. So make better movies becomes code for make movies that conform to regressive gender stereotypes or put men front and center in the narrative. Again, these are the words of a brainwashed zealot whose ideology has killed both Star Wars and Marvel. The quote then concludes, which is what you're seeing now and what Bob Iger's pivot is about right now. There then is the strongest indication yet that Disney are indeed trying to course correct. But in my book, Bob Iger isn't course correcting or pivoting hard enough. If he was, the next sentence out of this executive would have been crying over being fired, but instead, this executive would appear to still be in the building, no doubt fighting for more of their brand of propaganda in Disney movies. Still, these are good news, and that is something Disney needs more of, even to the point of trying to manufacture it. There are reasons to suspect that Disney in the past may have used bots to signal boost certain points of view, most notably and allegedly to create the impression that there was public demand that Gina Carano be fired when there wasn't. And it would appear that there is evidence to suggest that Disney is still using bots to this day to artificially boost certain messaging. The write-up here comes from our friends over at That Park Place, though the ultimate source on this is Master of TDS over on X. He also hosts the YouTube channel Gothic Therapy, where it was documented that he had found something off about the way in which a post on X, which functionally promoted how incredibly well the Disney share price was doing, was artificially boosted. This post, which praised both the Biden economy and Disney's performance in particular, at the time had 1.5 million views but a mere 380 likes, which does not add up. Furthermore, the responses mostly came from blue checkmarks, which, minor differences in phrasing aside, all said roughly the same thing, suggesting artificial boosting by way of bots. Far be it for me to say that Disney would ever resort to such deception to make it seem like the company is more popular than it actually is, even if Nelson Peltz still presents a clear and present danger for both Iger and his board of mini-me's. Even though Nelson Peltz, like every other billionaire, has been dumping a lot of stock these last few days, Disney and otherwise. Why they would all do that at the same time is beyond the scope of this video, but sticking to the scope, Nelson Peltz's partner in crime and Disney's former CFO would have some words. On February 21st, Nelson Peltz's Restore the Magic campaign posted a video featuring Jay Rasulo, Disney's former CFO, where he reminded everyone that the foundation of Disney was animation, and so it is troubling that Disney animation has lost its way.
Animation is so key to the Walt Disney Company, so key to the success and the running of the flywheel, that to imagine that the Walt Disney Company has lost its iconic status in animation today is almost unbelievable, and personally, it really affects me because this is how we created success when I was at the company.
Of course, as regular watchers will know, courtesy of Film Threat, we now know that Bob Iger's DEI policies have completely wiped any and all talent and creativity out of Disney's animation department, because the majority of actually qualified and experienced animators and storytellers were shunned out of the company for the high crimes of being white and male, while younger and more diverse activists not qualified for the job were brought in to meet the minimum quotas of 50% representation. These DEI policies ensure that the minority population of the land will be overrepresented within Disney, which also means that the number of positions available for the majority population of the land are capped and severely restricted, which further means that Disney can expect many more lawsuits in the same vein as the Gina Carano lawsuit in the near future. And in the meantime, they just got another lawsuit to deal with, in the guise of both Disney and Fox, as they were just sued by Fubo for conspiring with Warner in violation of antitrust laws. The fun never ends under Iger's Disney, and just so we're clear, no, this is not normal. While it's not unusual for big corporations to be involved with a couple of legal matters at any given time, it is not normal for an entertainment company to be involved in this many battles on so many different fronts all at the same time. That Disney nonetheless is speaks to the dysfunction that Bob Iger has brought to the company under his tenure, and this will not stop. On the contrary, there are so many skeletons buried, and shoddily buried at that Disney's problems will only escalate from here on out, and we will be here to document it all. Please subscribe and indicate you want notifications so you don't miss out on future updates. And if you've already done that but don't receive notifications anyway, which we know to be the case for many of you, then please momentarily unsubscribe and then immediately resubscribe, indicating you want notifications in the process. That refresh usually does the trick. For now though, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments. And before you go, remember to secure your privacy and bypass quarrelsome geo-blocking restrictions with Surfshark VPN. Type in our code MIDNIGHT at surfshark.deals/midnight to get an exclusive deal of 3 extra months for free. Link is in the description.